Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. Throughout my practice of psychotherapy for over 40 years, one of the things that I would emphasize when I was talking with individuals was the necessity or the centrality of freedom. So many people that would come to my counseling office would have a history of having been told what to do. They've lived with the agenda, capital A agenda, that's been held over them by typically authoritarian or domineering or controlling kind of individuals. And they can come into my office having all sorts of emotional damage because of that. And I would talk with them about the question, what would it mean to you to be free? You don't have to filter your life through everybody else. Certainly that doesn't mean you don't listen, but you don't have to be under someone else's dominance. Who do you want to be? And that's a great question that becomes the beginning point for a good use of freedom. What does it mean to be free? Plain and simple, freedom means that you have the privilege to choose for yourself. Freedom means that there's an absence of your subordination to those authoritarian individuals. Freedom means that you have the gift of self-determination. I think that's a good thing to do. Now, it would be so interesting when I would talk about this word freedom, and particularly if there were two or more people in my counseling office, the narcissistic individuals would think, I kind of like the idea of freedom for me. In fact, I like it a lot. But I don't know about this business of freedom for all the other kind of individuals out there. Narcissism, by definition, is grounded in a need to be in control. Narcissists don't have very much empathy for other individuals, but they do have a great deal of entitlement. So they want to be free, but they don't want you to be free. And in their freedom, they like to think in terms of what you can do for them. They're the ultimate exploiters. As they operate in freedom, they are constantly thinking, well, the reason I get to do this is I'm superior to you. And yet they're profoundly insecure and immature in the way that they manage it. So I want to see if I can let you know what it's like when a narcissist says, I want to be free. I'm seeking my own sense of freedom. And then I want to contrast with that with a much healthier alternative. When a narcissist says, I want to be free, what they actually mean is, I'm going to be accountable to no one. I'm tired of that. I don't want anybody out there telling me what to do. The narcissist who says, I want to be free, says, if my choices or if my priorities bother you, too bad. I don't care. They'll also think, as I'm being free, then that means I reserve the right to be a keeper of secrets. You don't need to know everything about me, and I'm just going to do what I want to do. And if I want to hold it in reserve so that nobody knows my business, that's just the way I roll. It also means that to the narcissist, freedom also means that no one has the right to challenge me. No one has the right to confront me because, you see, I'm totally free. And if you do that, then that means you're impinging upon my freedom, and we're just not going to let that happen. With the narcissist, their idea of freedom also means that you have to accept my choices, no matter how offensive they might be to you. And then they'll take it a little bit further and they'll say, and if you openly disagree with my choices, what that means is you're being judgmental. They're constantly the victim. They're constantly edgy when someone says, I have a different opinion. And the narcissist will also say, and oh, by the way, my freedom makes lots of sense. Your freedom is probably not going to end well. Let's just keep that to a limit. You don't need to go into that free path nearly as much as I should. To the narcissist, they'll think, as a free person, my cravings will always take the highest priority. They're not team players. That person is also thinking I've been held back by rules and expectations far too long from other individuals. So I'm just going to make up my own rules as I go along. If you like it, great. If you don't, hey, I'm free. That's what I get to do. The narcissist will think being free means that I get to tell you no a whole lot. And again, it's just like, I'm not a team player, don't really care about what my actions do in terms of their impact on other individuals. And then the narcissist thinks, if my free choices separate me from you, I don't care. That's how narcissists think. They want to have freedom. And I'm all for that word freedom. It's a beautiful word. But because they have this entitlement and this selfishness and this need for control and this lack of empathy, freedom in the hands of a childishly immature person is rather dangerous. Now, let's contrast that with a much healthier understanding of freedom. You see, I like to be free too, just like I said. But I also start with the understanding that there's an interconnection here that we simply cannot deny. The narcissist is so self-absorbed, so self-centered, that they don't really want to take into account the impact of what they do and how they choose and how it's going to get into the world of the other individuals in front of them. Healthy free people also want to have that privilege to choose from themselves, but in their mind, they begin thinking, my choices impact others in a variety of ways. So as common sense allows, I'd like to make free choices based on what's good for both me and you. That's how healthy people think. Healthy individuals will say freedom doesn't cancel out my conscientiousness. I want to make sure that I'm tuned into the impact of my choices upon you. As I practice my free choices, I like assessing how it impacts you and how you think in reverse. And I want to make sure that we're going to blend as common sense allows, as well as we possibly can. The healthy person says, I know that there are all sorts of selfish options in front of me, and I can freely choose those. But ultimately, I don't find raw selfishness to be very appealing. That's just not who I want to be. To me, goodness and cooperation are enhanced as I don't turn them into obligations. I don't want to be under obligation to anyone. I just like being good and cooperative. It's a free choice. No obligation, no duty. I'll still confront when necessary. Being free doesn't mean that, hey, anything goes. There are still times when we need to talk things out. But even as I confront people, when I know that we're not on the same page, I'm going to do so hoping that the other individual is going to see that it's going to be for the good of all. And in the process, I'm still going to prioritize civility as I speak my needs and establish my boundaries. As a healthy free person, I don't really feel the need to justify myself excessively. I'll explain myself in a plain kind of way when necessary, but that's as far as I need to go. I don't feel the need to coerce and plead my case to other individuals. If you differ from me, you're free, just as I'm free, and that's your prerogative. And I don't feel the need to coerce you into some form of coordination that it's just not going to be you. Likewise, if you think that I'm stupid or if you think that I'm ill-informed, I'll hear you. And then I'll move forward based on the common sense that guides me. That's how I like to operate. My freedom is informed by my mistakes and my miscalculations. And so true learning comes when I commit myself to be a person of honest self-examination. I choose love. I freely choose reliability. I choose integrity. I like to choose collaboration. I choose to be a person of peace. I choose self-restraint. I choose to be a person of service. I choose to be forgiving. I choose to be a person of truth, accompanied though by an open mind when someone says, I don't agree with you. It's like, I can hear you. I choose to find meaning in all that I think, say, and do. I choose my own personal growth. You see, freedom is a bedrock ingredient for a healthy personality. If we come under, if we do the right things, but we're under the dominance of some hard authoritarian person or system, it's not going to have a root system that's going to serve us very well. And so freedom needs to be there, away from authoritarianism. But like I say, it needs to be accompanied by all of this understanding of our interconnectedness. And there's where the narcissist and their craving for freedom, that's where they're going to take it and they're just going to run straight off the cliff. It's not going to end well. Every person gets to be free. A free narcissist winds up actually becoming imprisoned because of their own long-standing sense of immaturity and entitlement. So a healthy free person says, well, I want to be grounded in humility, and I want to be guided by a core sense of decency. That's the distinction that we want to stay on here on Team Healthy. I hope this gives you some good food for thought. I truly appreciate it when you allow me to be a part of your journey with you, and I hope that these words can give you some good things to contemplate. If you've not already hit the subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. Hit the like button, hit that notification bell as well. We're going to keep more videos coming in your direction. I know that many times you may have a thought that says, well, I've been under that authoritarian rule, and I've been under the mindset that says you have to filter everything through me, and it may be that you'll need somebody to help you sift that out. If you have a need for therapy, please know that I've been sponsored now for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. I've spoken with multiple people who have utilized that service, and they've received really good input from that. It's accessible, it's affordable. If you go through the link that we have below, you'll actually get a 10% discount on your first month. Please seek the help as you need as you have the need for therapy. Likewise, I also have my therapeutic courses. They each have multiple videos and written documents and guided questions. It's like signing up for an online course. Ready, Set, Connect, about making those good connection skills. Free to Be, about finding yourself. And then This Is Me, about establishing boundaries. We also have my podcast. We have my webinars that have already been presented, but you can still purchase them. We have my website with many articles, my books, and many other resources. I want you to be free, but at the same time, I want you to see that there's a big distinction between a healthy person's freedom versus a narcissist's use of freedom. And let's see if we can go in the healthiest direction as possible. And in doing so, I'm hoping it positions you to be a true person of peace and reliability and responsibility.